This is part 2 of how to fix a foot pedal on an Oakworks hydraulic massage table. In part 1, I showed you how to take the foot pedal apart and to test the switch to make sure it was bad, and then how to desolder the switch and pull it out. In part 2, you'll be replacing it with the new switch, which can be ordered as shown on the screen above. So the replacement switches I ordered come with this little toggle arm to activate the switch, and we don't need that inside ours, so we need to take that off. And it's just a simple matter of removing the little tin switch. You can see that it's just over a little plastic nub that sticks out. So let me take a trusty pocket knife and slip that. If I can do this while holding it up so you can see it. Slip it inside. I'll try not to cut myself here. And okay, there we go. Got it off. Here is the piece. Again, back up a little so it'll focus. You can just see this has a couple holes that go over the knobs. You don't need it. You can throw this away. Okay. Take your switch, and with the writing up and the pins facing out, just slide it back into place. Should fit exactly the way the other one was that you took out of it. And then the next thing we're going to do is solder these wires back into the same location where we got them from. And I'm going to slip the little wire piece through the hole and bend it just enough to hold it in place so that I can then solder it. And I'm going to go ahead and put it in place now. Okay, so you can see I'm ready for the red wire. I've slipped it through. Hopefully you can see, maybe shine a little bit of light on it there, that it's passing through the little loop in the contact and ready for me to solder. So let me grab the soldering iron. I'm using a resin core solder for electronics. You want to have a resin core because the resin helps to pull the solder into place. You hold the soldering iron against the pin itself so it heats up, and then touch the solder to the pin until it, if I can get my hand to be steady. Yeah, let's try it. Okay. There we go. Okay, got a nice solder joint. Takes just a second. Notice I can even lift the chip out now because it's attached to the solder to the pin. So the next thing you want to do is put that blue wire through the loop and connect it up. So I'll pull it out and just bring this up and bend it through to lock it into place. Put it down in. That's ready to go. Get my soldering iron and the solder. Hold it against the pin to heat it up, and then touch the solder to the pin. And in just a second or two, it should melt and create a nice shiny coating on it there. There we go. And now we've got two good solder joints that are right connecting the new switch in. Okay, let's get our spring right over here, put it back into place, and we'll grab the little plastic cap that goes over it. There's a little piece that sticks out right here. You can see that. You want that to go, you want in the middle of the spring end. So you want to make sure that's set in, then push it into place. And while you hold that, put the 2 screws back in. Okay, I've got the cap back on with the spring in there. I can feel that it's spring actuated by pushing on the other side. It feels fine. But one other thing I want to point out is to make sure you get the wires. There's little notches running across here, and you want those wires to be set inside. If not, when you put the back on, it will push on those and could break those wires. So make sure they're seated inside the little notches so that when the back is put on and you've got a ridge pushing against this, it's not going to cut your wires. What we want to do now is to, we'll just put the back on, but we won't put the screws in yet. So turn it around, all right? I'm going to just set the back on like this. I'm going to plug it in and let's try it before we put the screws back in and wrap it up. Okay, we've got the switch put back together. Let's give it a try and see if it works. So let me kind of pan over here so you can see the table. If you'll recall, it was a down switch, and look at that. Perfect, without any stuttering, any difficulty. Show you the up switch, we didn't have a problem. Both of them are working. I just need to put the screws back in the back and we're all set. I hope this has been helpful. This has been my first do-it-yourself video, and so please excuse how amateur it is, but the main intent is to show that you can take and easily fix with a $6 part something that might cost you $100 or more to try and replace going back through the vendor. Take care.